We begin this afternoon with former President Trump back inside a courtroom in Lower Manhattan for a second day in his hush money case, and the group that will make up the jury to decide Donald Trump's fate is starting to come together. And good afternoon, I'm David Navarro.
And I'm Liz Cho. So far, 6 jurors have been seated. That is half of what will eventually become a panel of 12 New Yorkers with 6 alternates. This afternoon centered around the social media posts of potential jurors. Trump lawyers successfully removed one person from the jury pool for posting, quote, "lock him up," but they have failed to remove others.
Meanwhile, at one point, the judge had a stern warning for Trump over his audible mutterings while a prospective juror was speaking. The judge telling Trump's attorneys he will not have any jurors intimidated in his courtroom.
Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett is live outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan with the very latest on today's proceedings. And NJ, I think a lot of people surprised to hear that they have 6 jurors already.
Yeah, Liz, I think the amount of progress they've made today in just a few hours is somewhat surprising. You know, they have made their way through a fair number of jurors, literally dozens and dozens of jurors. So, yes, they've seated 6. As far as what Dave said about Trump's muttering, bear in mind he was warned about that during his civil defamation trial. That happened at least once or twice in that venue. It's apparently been happening here today. The defense was able to strike 2 jurors based on social media post, as you guys discussed. But now, as I said, 6 have been seated. So as far as the jury itself is concerned, we're halfway there.
It's hard to know what Donald Trump was thinking today after he took his seat at the defense table and listened to the men and women who may be asked to judge his guilt or innocence. This isn't a baseball game, his defense attorney told them. This is extraordinarily serious. Asked for their views of the former president, one man replied, "I find him fascinating. He walks into a room and he sets people off." "I'll say I'm a Democrat, so there you go," said another. "But I walk in here and he's a defendant, and that's all he is." This man was excused because he didn't want to bear what he called the burden of history.
It was cool being on the front row of history, but I don't want to be a part of history to make that decision. I think it's a heavy burden to bear, and I didn't want to bear that burden.
The indictment charges America's 45th president with 34 felony counts for falsifying business records.
Turn this way for me.
At the heart of the case, a $130,000 payment made to porn actress Stormy Daniels, who claimed she had an affair with Trump in 2006. Although the former president denied it, prosecutors say he ordered his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, to buy her silence. Trump is accused of covering up the payment, listing it as a legal expense, so it would not damage his 2016 campaign. An allegation he denied again today.
Mark it down as a legal expense. That's exactly what it was. And you get indicted over that?
In court, prosecutor Joshua Steinglass pressed potential jurors on whether they had the guts to convict Trump if they can prove the case. "Look at the defendant and take a look inside yourselves," he said. "Will you be able to render a verdict of guilty? I can judge this case on the merits," said one. Another promised to give this man a fair shake.
So here's what we know about 5 of the 6 jurors who have been seated. There's an Irish-born salesman, an oncology nurse, an attorney from Chelsea, a Puerto Rican-born IT consultant, and a software employee. So as far as the jury is concerned, we are halfway there. They will need to pick, as Liz said a moment ago, as many as 6 alternates, but there is progress to report today after several hours of jury selection. Live in Lower Manhattan, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.